Actually, in October, they started looking into the UK strain. They kept trying to find the UK strain, and that's how they found this one. So if they hadn't started looking into the UK strain, they would have never found it. And this one is way spreads way faster than the UK strain, and it's different. The way it mutated, it's different.
I wonder why it only like affected certain places like California and not other states, unless they only found it in California.
They haven't found it in other states yet. They have to do research for a period of time. It took them what? This is what, January to October, November, December. It took them until January to really identify if there's a different mutation.
Interesting.
Disease or viruses, they change. They change based on the climate, and you gotta believe that to be true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they change on the climate. They change on just like if you go to someplace new, you change, you adapt.
Yeah.
So the virus adapts, and if it's a living organism, it has to adapt. Like if you get lost in the desert and you're to survive, you have to adapt to what it means to live in the desert. If you go live in New York City where it's cold, or some state where there's winter, if you want to survive, you have to adapt to winter.
I wonder if like when it first became a thing, or when it first hit California, or when it was new basically, if it was weaker than it is now. Like even if it was the same strain, like I wonder, say if you got it last year January, the people who got it like in November, it was stronger and it hit them harder.
Mutations, it's not a matter of if the mutation, if when it mutates it becomes stronger. What it is you are accustomed to it doing one thing, and you get prepared for it to react a certain way, just like the body. The body gets accustomed to the flu acting a certain way. When the flu changes every year, that's a mutation. So every year they have a different flu vaccine because the flu mutates and changes. So a lot of things attribute to that. You have weather, climate changes. You have areas where it's warmer. You know, the bacteria could live in certain types of heat, and certain types of heat kill it. You know, so if a living organism knows, hey, if I go here, more than likely I won't survive, they're not going to go there.
Yeah.
You know, just as simple as roaches. Why you think they don't, for some people who have roach infestation, the roaches don't come out during the day. They come out at night when they're sleeping.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to get killed. They adapt to their surroundings. So the virus is as living an organism as mold that grows on bread, as anything else. You know, it's alive. So it's going to change based on the surroundings so that it can survive.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why they've already established. I remember earlier up in when it first started, my brother had said that it's like every year now they're gonna have to have a coronavirus vaccine. People aren't hearing this stuff. Like people aren't realizing what they're dealing with. You know.
I mean, I wonder if I'm not saying that the flu was not as bad as COVID. I'm not saying it's not, like, you know, but I wonder if that was the same case when the flu became new, like when it started, if it was similar to how things are going now, and now it ended up being to where it's like, okay, well, we're just gonna have to give vaccines every year.
Well, the flu, again, that is another living organism that attacks the body.
Yeah.
So a lot of it has to do with your immune system. I don't normally get the flu.
Same.
I get sick with allergies.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I've gotten sick in during the years. As many years as you have the flu, I don't even get slight symptoms of the flu. But I'll get sick with my allergies.
Yeah, because I haven't had the flu shot in a while, so I wonder if that's going to be the same with COVID. Like, if I don't get well, then I won't really know until it happens. But if I don't get the vaccine, like, I'll be fine. Or if it's going to be mandatory to have the vaccine.
with the thing as far as the vaccine, because I even started thinking last night, do I need to get it? And I think it's because my brother has it now, but because he doesn't sound good at all. Like my sister-in-law and my nephew, supposedly they got out with they came through it with minor symptoms, but for him, he has a lot of symptoms. He's congested. He felt like, he said it was cold that day, like the 25th, when he realized something was wrong, but he felt the cold inside his body, like it was in his bones. And he spoke about it, and they were laughing and joking with him, saying, you're getting old, that's what it is. But it was the virus already working on his body. And on Martin Luther King Day, him, his daughter, his wife, his son, and my other brother, they got together and played some domino games. And the son had already had it. So a few days after, everybody started feeling it. So like now he said, it's going to be like another 3 or 4 days before he can say whether or not he's out of the woods, because it hasn't started to affect his lungs yet. But it can go either way, and he already sounds really crappy. So I'm not very
they had the vaccine before they got
He didn't get the vaccine yet, because remember he was not too excited about this vaccine.
Yeah, but now he's thinking about it after he gets better. Hopefully.
They're bringing it to his job, where they're bringing it to the prison where he works at.
They're gonna be bringing it to my job.
Who's bringing it to your job?
They're getting the paperwork and everything fixed for us to get the vaccine.
Because you guys are considered frontline workers. Well, you may consider taking it for yourself, because, for one thing, you don't take medicine to boost your immunity. My brother has been telling us since March.
I took vitamin D.
It was not just vitamin D. It was
zinc and something else.
It was the 3 things. Yeah. And to me, and I even thought about this morning, like, you guys, even if you're not taking that for you, take it for me. Because I'm in such a risky bracket for people when it comes to this coronavirus. So if you're not going to take the vitamins to boost your immunity for you, boost your immunity so you don't get sick and you don't spread it to me.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Didn't your brother take that stuff, right? But he's sick.
But he's still sick because you don't know what your immunity level is until something attacks your immunity.
But even if you have a high immunity, it could still be attacked. You could still get really sick.
No, that's what I'm saying. You don't know what your immunity level is. That's not something that can be measured.
Yeah.
Because different viruses affect different parts of your body.
Yeah.
That's why you have people who are 17 who are fit and healthy. You have doctors in the prime of their life. One doctor I remember who had ran 34 marathons and was 54 years old, and he was gone in 2 weeks.
Okay, so I have because like with vaccines, aren't they putting like a little bit of the virus in your system?
Well, I don't think they actually have the virus to put into the vaccine. I think, I don't know what it is, because they're not telling people. A lot of people don't have any information about it. Like, I asked the nurse where I go for my exercises, what did they tell you about the vaccine? Because she got it. And I said, so what did they tell you about it? And she said nothing. And I said, what do you mean? She's like, oh no, we just went in and we got the shot. And then they just told us, to take and I'm thinking, you're a nurse.
Exactly.
And you wouldn't want to know what the fuck they're putting into your body. They should be educating people about what the vaccine is. When you go to the doctor, I remember when you were a certain age and they wanted to give you this vaccine. They tell you what it's for. Oh, it's because kids get sexually active at this age, and this vaccine protects them from getting cervical cancer. Blah blah. But they tell you.
That just shows that they don't know what they're doing.
That's the thing. They don't know. Think about it. There's just a few people that are privy to the information at this point.
Yeah.
And doctors aren't even those people. They get a general they get the general information that the CDC really. If we want to find out what's going on or what doctors know, all we have to do is go to the CDC website, which is, which is the Center of Disease Control. Go to the CDC website. The same information that the doctors have now is there for the public to see. But how many people in the public are going to wake up and say, let me go check out the CDC website to see what's really going on with this situation?
Yeah. But I had thought about it because I'm like, if it is a vaccine to where they put a little bit in your system, it'll be in my system, and if you don't have it, this is just what I'm thinking. Say if you don't have it and we're so close to each other, what if I cough or what if I do something? Wouldn't that come out and spread to you?
That's not how the vaccine works. The way the vaccine works is it puts it, because when you get sick, that's why some people don't take medicine, because the body is supposed to naturally ward off sicknesses.
Yeah.
Like it's supposed to ward off infections. Some people, so when they put a vaccine, when they give you a vaccine shot, it's like they put something, either an organism that is similar to it or something of it, they put it in your body. So your body doesn't recognize it. So your body starts acting weird. Just like me. They put this thing inside of me. My body doesn't know what that is. That's something that's foreign. Plus it's connected to my heart. There's all these different things. So I start getting sick. I have a lot of pain. Like, my body doesn't respond normally. They have to put me on all these different medicines because everything is out of whack. So when you have when they give you a vaccine, they put that inside of your body to mimic whatever the thing is. So like when you get a flu vaccine, they put some kind of antibody, something into your body that is either I guess they say it's a bit of the flu, and so your body attacks it. So your body starts manufacturing its own medicine to kill that virus. So if you do get an onset of the flu, which will be a higher level of what was in that vaccine, a way higher level, then your body already knows what to produce to fight it.
Yeah.
So that's how vaccine works. So a lot of people are thinking with this vaccine they're not going to get the virus. That's not true. The only thing this does is a personal thing.
Yeah.
It makes your body fight harder.
Yeah.
So you have a better chance of, your body has a better chance of managing the virus. So, it bothers me. I wonder if my brother because he could have had it the first day it came out. And I wonder if it bothers him now that he didn't take it, because now his body doesn't know what's in there, and his body has to create antibodies. And the thing with it is, if your body doesn't create the antibodies fast enough, the virus overtakes your system, and at that point, no amount of antibodies is going to help you.
That makes sense. Where did California go wrong?
California went wrong because there's too many fucking politics, and too many people in California feel that they're not. There's this constant fight against people and state where they feel that the government is trying to tell them what to do. It's everywhere, but it's very prevalent in California because you have too many rich people out here. Some rich people get pulled over by the cops and they don't even fucking stop because the cop's not going to tell them what to do.
Yeah.
They're not going to pay a ticket. You can't tell me I can't go here. Do you know who I am? So there's like an abundance of ego and money out here. Orange County was one of the counties that pushed back so hard against the governor with everything he was trying to do, because they felt it was not an Orange County problem, right? Because they're so rich and they're so this and they're so super healthy, until it really started hitting Orange County.
Yeah.
And it started hitting people that had money. I think there was this guy in government, I forgot what position he was, but I think he lost his mother he lost his mother, and that made big news.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, you started hearing the numbers coming up in Orange County. And then they started doing stuff out there. They threatened to recall the governor. There's still a petition to recall the governor because they're saying he's infringing on their rights.
I was talking with my friend, and they were somewhat supporting the whole idea behind like people fighting for wearing no mask, because they're saying like if the government is forcing us to do something so small as wearing a mask, then they can tell us what else to do. And I'm just like, do you not see China or these other places where the government, there's no ifs, ands, or but, like you have to do it.
But you know what? That is a viable argument. All these things and all these opinions are arguments, and it's subject to interpretation, because that is a viable argument. You don't want the government telling you what to do, but at some point, under some circumstances, the government needs to tell people what to do.
Yeah.
Okay, and
this is a perfect
to totally
example.
Obliterate that argument, the government puts a stop sign and tells you when you see that sign, you stop.
Yeah.
When the light turns red, you stop. When it turns green, the government tells you at every year you got to go to the DMV and renew your thing. The government tells you you got to pay taxes, right? There's so many things the government tells you to fucking do. The government creates landscape. They tell you this is a park. They tell you, you got to pay to go in here.
Mm-hmm.
So a little thing is a mask. It's just another one of the things that government tell you to do. And you register your car every year to drive, right? And you pay taxes when you go to the supermarket, and you do all these other things that the government already tells you to do. So what the fuck is telling you to wear a mask to protect the next person? It's to protect you too, but it's more so to protect the next person.
Yeah. As the other places, I mean, they did their dues, and Roger said what, like New Zealand, or what was the place that he was talking about yesterday?
Actually, Singapore. You know where they filmed that movie?
Yeah, that beautiful place in Asia.
That's a really beautiful place, and they're at the forefront of technology. Their people are very, very intelligent. They listen to the government. You don't hear anything much about Singapore, but there's a lot of money in Singapore, and a lot of the high-tech stuff is in Singapore. And they had 0 cases for a very long time. And I think one nurse or somebody came from the UK and came in, and then they had one person, and then they had a few people. But what they didn't do was to let it get out of control. They quickly figured out who the person was, and they did contact tracing, which is how a lot of other countries are able to control the spread of the disease, because they do contact tracing. They figure out where the source is, who they came in contact with, and they kind of isolate those people. They let it be known that this is where the disease is, so people are less likely to interact with this group of people, or they keep a watch, or these people stay in for a while until it passes through.
And do they have like a large population? Do you think like we'll be able to mimic things like that? But then China has a very large population, right? And they would do something similar.
China has a completely different government system.
True. Because I was thinking maybe it's because we have too many people, but we're not the only place with a large population.
We're not, but we're the ones handling it the worst.
Yeah.
Because in some other countries, in England, France, and other places in Europe, when they say they shut down, like in Italy, everything was shut down. People couldn't go anywhere. They were showing that on the news every day. But that was something that was necessary, and still so many people died. This is a year of confusion and unknown. And those are two similar but two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Unknown is really just standing on the precipice, but you don't know where you are.
Mm-hmm.
You're just standing there, but you don't know where you are. That's different than being confused as to where you are.
Yeah, because you have like a little idea, but you don't fully know what's going on.
You have something to base something on. When you're confused based on something. And that is what this whole year is going to be about.
Yeah, and then we have like a new president, so I feel like all these new changes on top of that, it's just going to be even more chaotic.
Well, it's weird. We have a new president, and I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that Joe Biden is the same person he is coming into this presidency, and that will be for the better because he has proven himself in his entire political career to be a politician of substance. Of course, like every other politician, he votes on stuff that benefits his state, or if he's lobbied, if they make the right deal, he'll make the right deal. All politicians do that. They do it for personal reasons, and they do it for the party reasons. So he might vote against something because it's against his belief,
Yeah.
and then he might vote on something because it benefits his party.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, the only stain that they try to put on his reputation is the fact that his son, because of who he was, his son was able to get this job with no background, no kind of nothing, just
Yeah.
based on the fact that he was the vice president's son. He got this job and he was able to hide all this money or embezzle all this money, and that may be true. All politicians do that kind of stuff. Some of them get caught.
Uh-huh.
The House Speaker, her son, was caught up in the same thing, where they were saying same thing happened with him. He got a job based on the fact that his mother was Nancy Pelosi, and there was some talk about money. These people, when they get in these positions, they play. Not only do they play with politics, they play with large sums of money, or the availability of large sums of money, or even the idea to, like, they can act as though they have access to these large sums of money. And for most politicians are ego driven, so for them, it's like they're kids in candy stores. They make choices within the law to their benefit, to their financial benefit. It's nothing for any other reason than a financial benefit.
Yeah.
So.
Do you know the association with him in China? Because I've seen a few people say Joe China.
No, I think they're just I think at this point, because President Bush, he went after China when he was in office, which what people don't realize was the right thing to do, but he couldn't undo what has been done for years. China has had America in its pocket for years without America realizing it. America knew. The people at the top knew. And they resented China for it, but they needed China. Like, they needed China for all these cheap factories, to make all these cheap fucking goods, to keep the economy growing in America. And what that amounted to was certain group of people got rich, and certain people stayed poor. Because unless you could afford to go to China and have them make, like the iPhone, it probably costs like 75 cents to $1 to make the iPhone. Then they sell it over here for $700, $800. That's been going on forever. A lot of these top designers, they get a bag made in China for 50 cents, and then they sell it for $1,000. Just think about how much money these people are allowed to make because of China.
Yeah.
And so what President Trump did is he set it up so either China was going to eat a lot of that bill, or the people in America who were taking their business over there was going to eat all that bill. So China lost a lot of money because China did not want to lose all that American business, so they had to eat a lot of that bill. Otherwise, these American companies were going to start setting up factories in America.
Yeah.
And so instead of paying these extra money just to get shit from China, so you had the China government having to cover a lot of bills for a lot of these companies to stay in China. And to them, China felt that was an attack on their economy. So then they started playing dirty. That's why people thought this coronavirus thing was actually, something that they were planning to use, but just not not that in China. They were planning to use it in America, but for whatever reason,
It got out.
It got out the way it did, and it became a global pandemic. You know, because they had no reason to create it.
Mm-hmm.
What reason can you give to say that you were creating this virus? What would be the reason behind it?
Yeah, just having fun in the lab.
Yeah, at the highest level of medicine in that country, you know, what would be the reason to create such a thing? It's crazy. That's why now I believe years ago people were saying that the AIDS, the AIDS virus was manufactured and it got out, but it was intended to kill homosexuals, and especially a large part of the black population. And for years, people used to say that was when talking about AIDS was taboo. Like, you talked about people who had AIDS and you looked down on those people. Oh, they're nasty and disgusted, or they're poor. And so back then, you know, the talk was that AIDS was something that was manufactured in Africa to kill black people and to kill homosexuals, and so people didn't want anything to do with AIDS until rich people started getting it, public figures started getting it. Then they, you know, like Magic Johnson got it. He was one of the most famous basketball players of in the world at that time when he got it. So it couldn't be a rich people disease. They had to start making it okay. Until Magic Johnson had it, if you had AIDS, you were scorned. People didn't want to be a mile close to you. People, if you were in the family, you absconded from the family because you had AIDS. It either meant that you were involved in drug use, you were gay, and back then that was taboo as well. It was looked down upon. It was a frowned on behavior. Or you were just black and poor. And so when he came out and said it, then you noticed they tried to normalize it, because until it starts hitting the people that they consider the people that matter,
exactly,
they don't do anything about it.